Hello, I'm Cosmic, and today I wanted to talk about beta. Now, there was a time when beta access was actually a very exclusive thing in gaming. Companies would actually hire teams of beta testers to test their product to receive crucial feedback before a game's launch. Nowadays, however, betas are literally all over the place. Closed betas, open betas, ones as big as your head. I have no issue with public beta tests in principle. The concept of people testing a product to ensure its quality is absolutely essential. However, there's a new trend growing in the industry, a trend of questionable business practices in regards to various games' beta phases. Now, it's becoming increasingly common for a company to decide to open their game to the public under the guise of beta. Even more increasingly common is that these companies are also asking money for access to these respective betas. Services like Steam's Early Access program has encouraged and enabled this trend to gain real traction in recent months. Even huge companies like SOE are cashing in on this trend with their recent Founders Packs for EverQuest Next Landmark, whereby customers are paying to play an alpha build, a shell of the final product. One of these earliest buy-in betas that I can remember on a relatively huge scale was probably Minecraft, which sold huge amounts of copies well before its final release date. So here's the question. Is it inherently wrong to ask for money for something which is not only an incomplete product, but sometimes is years away from completion? I have to say that in some regard, it is wrong. The issue I have with the majority of these buy-in betas is that the companies are often asking full price for an incomplete product. Not only this, but some companies are even charging more by exploiting the trend and adding a few in-game digital goods to sweeten the deal, so to speak. In fact, it's even more insidious than that. Some companies are using the term beta to soft launch their title and shield themselves from criticism, using beta as an excuse for an unfinished product, if not a completely broken one. Take the recent Warhammer 40k Storm of Vengeance. They released at first on their title on Steam, not under the early access program, and simply added beta to the end of the title. One feels to shield themselves from having an incomplete product possibly. It's ridiculous. I cannot believe Valve allowed it. Early access is for games in beta. In my opinion, if you release a product without the early access program, then it should be your full launch. Since being called out on this, the game has now actually gone into early access. Is this type of behaviour a cash grab from the game developers? Were they pushed to meet a deadline by Games Workshop that they couldn't meet? Who knows? But one thing is sure, it is completely unacceptable. Another growing concern is that free-to-play titles are hugely exploiting gamers under the guise of beta. It's funny how so many free-to-play models with in-game microtransactions are launching under beta, with game features either incomplete or completely missing, yet their cash shop is all ready to go. When did we as consumers come to accept this as okay? It's like paying for a tin of beans, but with the promise of half the tin later, while also offering individual beans at a price. It's complete madness. Honestly, when did we as consumers decide it is acceptable for companies to do this to us and treat us this way? What happened to the times of when games just launched as complete titles? I'm not saying that all beta programs or indeed early access titles are bad, but you have to feel that some are more exploitative than others, and some companies especially really do use beta as both a shield and a way to generate income. If you need to generate capital as a games developer, there are platforms out there for you to do this, i.e. Kickstarter, whereby backers who believe in your creative vision will back you. Kickstarter is one thing which I feel has a very different set of expectations. If you back a game on Kickstarter, you are not doing that as a consumer. You're doing that as an investor of sorts. Buying into a beta on a platform like Steam, however, you are doing that as a consumer of a product, which invokes a very different set of expectations and principles. It really worries me that consumers are willing to just lay down up to hundreds of dollars at a time for incomplete broken products that may or may not deliver on their promises. Lines between the consumer and investor are being blurred here, sometimes intentionally, I feel. As a consumer, I stay true to the belief that it is simply not okay to charge full price for an incomplete product. As a games critic, I worry that dubious companies will hide behind the word beta to avoid critique and ultimately leave the consumers out of pocket because they purchased their terrible game without being informed prior. Let me know what you think on betas and if you think there are instances where companies have hidden their product behind the beta shield. Thank you so much for watching. Do like, subscribe and leave a comment, and I'll see you next time.